Welcome back, everybody. This is day 2 with Wild Mustang Nush out of Twin Peaks. He's about 7 years old, and you'll see I'm really just using the stimulus, which is a whip wound up as an extension of my hand. And I spent day 1 with him and half of day 2. This is, of course, the night of day 2, teaching him really how to give me 2 eyes for me to release pressure, again, which pressure is my body. I've talked about how you have to look at Wild Mustangs as zones. The closer you are to him, you're in a red zone. A little bit further out, you're in a yellow zone. And then, of course, further out, you're in a green zone. And generally, at this point, I'm working in between the yellow and the red, more of kind of an orange mix. I'm seeing how he'll respond to me, really working within those limits there, and trying, of course, to get into his red zone for his first touches. He's responding really well to the stimulus here. And I'm just giving him releases, but I'm not giving him that long of releases. And you'll see I do make a mistake here coming up where I keep constant pressure on him. And eventually he starts to get a little bit boogered up, and I wish I would have given a little bit longer releases for him to really think that out. And a good lesson learned on my part. So by me working too heavily in the yellow and the red, you'll see he starts to shift away. I'm pretty committed to that point. I can't let him think that by him walking away relieves the pressure. That would be a real bad training scar as far as this process goes. So I'm pretty committed. I have to keep that pressure on him until he gives me the response I need so that we can continue the conversation. He starts to walk away a little bit more. I'm still trying to keep that same distance, that same pressure, regardless of him walking away. Yeah, as you review the video, I could see my belly button is pointed towards him, which is creating kind of that drive line. Again, another good correction point on my part. Now, I changed my hips here in just a second, and there we go. And you can see now I'm looking for him to give a response. He did stop, which is a really good thing. He hasn't really given me the full response. I need his nose to touch the stimulus, and that tells me to basically walk away. And he's trying. He's really thinking so hard. In there he goes. He goes and gives me the response, and I walk away, and you could see he's a lot more calm about it. And again, in hindsight, I wish I would have given him a little bit more of a release. Waited for a lick and chew. And unfortunately, I came right back in. He's still postured, ready to be on the run. And these are those signs that just makes me a better trainer to be able to evaluate those and give that good release instead of being greedy and trying to get more touches. Finally, I do give a little bit longer of a release. And again, in hindsight, I wish I would have waited for a lick and chew, let him really think that process through, because that was a big moment for him to walk away and find that release, once he stopped and he gave me a good sign. Again, I approach him here with a heavy belly button, and it was a very direct angle. I would recommend maybe hitting some lateral movements. And I'm not being very rhythmic. Well, here I am. I start becoming more rhythmic here, relaxing him. He's up against that wall, which makes me a little bit nervous. He gave me a good response there, and we're having a good conversation. He's starting to recognize it. Unfortunately, I'm not, and as you can see, I'm walking right back in. Again, trainers out there, I would imagine you would say the same thing. Let him really think that through, get real relief out of that instead of that just instant one. He's not running, but he's giving me good responses again. He's luckily a better horse than I am a trainer here, and he's been easy to work with. There we go. So now I'm just really working this stick, not so much for the nose touches, but now I'm trying to get closer and closer, and he's responding so well. He's just a wonderful, wonderful horse. Now I'm looking to use that stimulus to really get to his side and be able to touch him, which again is an extension of my arm, because I am looking for a first touch here. Again, unfortunately, a little bit greedy. I'm trying to get pushing a little bit too much. Luckily here, I am given a good release. Again, I don't wait for a lick and chew in the future. I will incorporate that lick and chew. My posture looks a little bit better here, but again, I did went directly into him instead of maybe a little bit lateral movement. Again, becoming a little bit greedy. And you could see the response right there. Not really letting him, there we go. And again, he's a wonderful horse, right? He's being a better horse than I am a trainer. I'm very thankful for him, and a lot of good lessons learned. This is why I'm posting this video. These are good things to do, and of course a lot of bad things. And you can see, because I haven't really let him decompress and really thinks things through, he's becoming a little bit bothered. Again, I recognize I'm really working in that yellow and borderline red here, but there's no reason for me not to let him give a good release and a good looking shoe. So, trainers, as you're taming, Mustangs, don't go right back in. Really, really let them process what's happening. So as we continue, he again is very smart. He's giving me every answer I need, and there I go right back in, not letting him decompress. If I remember right, I come in here and I actually try and get the first touches with that extension. He's trying to give me an answer. He's saying, "Hey, I'm not comfortable." He touches it and he's waiting for me to step out. He did it again. And now I'm just kind of petting him, which is making him nervous. So he's trying to talk to me. He's basically saying, "Yeah, I see you're touching me. My nose hit your stick. Leave me alone." But again, that's part of that living in that yellow and reddish. I recognize that he was giving me the answer, and the failure here was all the previous contacts where I'm not letting him do exactly what he's doing right now, licking and chewing, giving me a good exhale. And, thankfully, maybe the big man upstairs told me that you need to relax. That was a big moment to touch him. So letting him, really think that through with some good yawns and licks and chews and some deep exhales. Really, really wonderful moment that, not because of my horseman skills, but because he's a good horse, he recognizes that he's going to give a good yawn here. Some really wonderful licks and chews, and thankfully I'm keeping my anxious butt in place and letting him work through that. This is where they're really learning the most, honestly. So seeing, some of the progress here, I know I'm pretty happy. He's really releasing a lot of that stress. Probably more stress than he needed. I really should have done this along the way, instead of just this one bigger moment where now I've touched him with a stick, causing him, quite a response. Now we're going to just continue to communicate, and he's a better communicator than I am a trainer. Very, very fortunate to be able to working with him, and he gives me two eyes, so I give him a good release off of that, again trying to continue the conversation. Just coming in with a little bit of rhythmic and touch him once, and as I touched him, his nose of course gave me the response I needed, so I backed off a little bit. There he goes, giving me two eyes again, and I really should have probably tried to draw him a little bit. Unfortunately I didn't. There goes a little bit of a foot there, and if I would have read that a little bit sooner, I probably could have got a good draw in with me on that one. In hindsight, it's 2020. I like this approach better. I'm coming more of a lateral, instead of, straight on with the belly button. It gives me a wonderful, wonderful response there. Again, I really got to assess the way I'm approaching him each time, and thankfully he's pretty forgiving. Being able to touch him now with the stick. Again, he's trying to communicate with me that he's a little bit uncomfortable. Instead of running, he's staying put, and he was giving me his nose, telling me he's uncomfortable. But of course, at some point, you've got to really balance that red and yellow to kind of get a breakthrough, and that's what's happening right now. Is I'm just rubbing him with the stick, letting him know that it's not a danger and that I'm not a danger. Again, you have to visualize that stick, in his point of view, is my hand. I'm just further away just because, again, he is a wild Mustang. We've only had him on the ranch for one day, so he's pretty scared. He gives me 2 eyes. He seemed really okay with that. He's a very curious horse, so really, really excited about that. And if I remember correctly, I'm talking to Enzo here about some of the things that I wish I would have done before that first touch. And again, that was giving him more releases, and he's giving me 2 eyes. So I'm going to angle over. I was hoping he would follow me with those front feet, or at least give me a hind quarter release. He didn't, so, I still kind of approach him a little bit. We've had some really good communication here. Again, here I am really working in that orange, that mix of yellow and red, and he's nervous. He's trying to give me an answer, saying I'm pretty uncomfortable, and he touches the stick with his nose to tell me that. This is wonderful. We're able to just kind of be in that area where I see he's not flighty. His head's high, and I recognize it. His ears aren't pinned or anything. He's still very, very curious. I'm trying to stay rhythmic with my touching, in more of a comfortable spot for him. Had I really not been so greedy, once he gave me those 2 eyes, I probably should have given a nice relief and let him, think that through. It's a little bit too much touching. I should have let him really think about that process. It didn't need to be this long. The communication had already been happening, and now I was just wanting more. So as you're training these, amazing animals, remember it's all about them. And this is a great video for me to be able to self-reflect and see, how much it was pointing towards what I was wanting versus being a good horse trainer, and letting them really decompress and think that through. Again, I wish I would have really waited for a lick and chew out of that. He's being I know it's probably a trite saying at this point, but he's being a better horse than I am a trainer. But he's letting me really work through, and again, about right now is when I should have really walked away, because he's given me every response that I'm looking for, and that response is really that he's going to stand there, he's going to let me pet him, he's not going to run, and I should have given him that release of pressure a lot sooner. It didn't need to be this much, and now he's showing me signs that he's a little bit uncomfortable, and I should have pulled back a long time ago. Again, his patience for me is just really, really wonderful. I like the way he's standing. His head's pretty low. He's still pretty curious. There I go and try and reach now for my hand, and he sniffs it. And here you'll see me again getting even more, greedy, trying to get into the touch. And I'm really shocked he actually didn't walk away from this. Even more so, shocked that he seemed to almost like it, and let me get up into his ears. And he's standing really nice, and it's probably why I was pushing so hard, is his demeanor throughout all of this. His head seems to lower even more. He's shaking it a little bit, and I know he's nervous. I could definitely feel it. Again, this is the first time this horse has ever been touched by a human. And as you can see throughout this whole video, he's had this hay stuck around his eye. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't wait to get that hay out of his eye. And again, look at this. He's just letting me scratch around his ears, which is really shocking. And again, this is not good horse training for Mustang. I should have stepped back a long, long time ago. If it wasn't for his just wonderful demeanor, this wouldn't have gone this well. And he's shaking his head. Again, that's another sign I should have stepped back. Okay, there I go. And he's starting to lick a little bit. And, you know, the first time you touch an untouched Mustang is a pretty powerful thing. You know, the first time you halter him, the first time you saddle him, the first time you ride him. So almost magical in a sense. And I really like the way he's looking at me. Still curious, wondering what I'm doing. His ears are moving around. So curious about what's happening in the room. And there are a couple people in the room. Again, I probably should have had just a longer pause. There I changed my hips a little bit. He's still super nervous. So just out of safety, I used the stick again, which is an extension of my hand. Working well within the red zone now that I'm trying to touch him. And now that I'm there, I'm kind of committed. He didn't run. Probably should have probably released on that one. But again, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty excited at this point and wanting to get more greedy touches in. Really, I'm really focused on trying to get that hay out of his eyes. You can see there. Again, he's surprisingly tolerating me around his ears and his cheek and his face and there, and finally got the hay. Normally, I wouldn't go and scratch the ears so much, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it. I would stick around his shoulders, around his withers. I wouldn't go right for the face on just any Mustang. Really try and read them as much as you can. Probably why I was making the decision here to stick with it. But, as you gain more experience, you know that this isn't the right way to do that. I should have released and let him really think about this probably 4 or 5 times, even in this interaction here. And again, this is a Twin Peaks horse management area Mustang. Twin Peaks Mustangs are really known for having wonderful temperaments. We have another Twin Peaks one coming. Again, thanks for watching. I'll put out another video of his first halter. And we have 2 more Mustangs that we'll be working on, and we'll put some videos out for them. Have a great one.